That's like some front row shit. They got to see front row to the show. This man boxed up some polar bears, bro. Some giant savage A-rank polar bears.
This was pretty cool. Scenes like this are actually anime original, and I'm 100% here for all of it. Just like how it was with episode 1 though, a lot of the finer details focusing on the people around Sung couldn't make it due to how much they needed to cover this season. There was also a bit more to Sung's grind in the Red Gate, so if you want to see just how much he leveled up, along with what you may have missed from his boss fight against Baraka, that's exactly what we're going to talk about this video.
I wish he could have got Baraka, but that would have been way too OP.
The manhwa and the novel.
That'd have been way too overpowered.
Episode 14.
But this is what we're here for.
I suppose you aren't aware. Covering chapters 53 to 55 from the manhwa and chapters 63 to 66 from the web novel. To start things from the very beginning of the Red Gate incident, I want to focus on who Sung was with first. Reason being that, as new recruits from the White Tiger Guild, this was actually their very first time doing a dungeon raid. How then were they so composed when plunged into the Red Gate? Well, that's because they were taught that anything could happen. Each and every one of them had already gone through extensive training outside the gates. That being the case, the fact this was their first raid didn't mean that they were ill-prepared, it just meant they were inexperienced. As soon as this gate was completed, all of them were set to start doing high-rank dungeons.
Wait, what?
It essentially made this nothing more than—
How is that not being ill-prepared? Like, the gate just changed out of nowhere. They didn't expect it to be a red gate whenever they went through. I don't agree with that on that point. Because it was just random. Like, they was all surprised that the gate was a red gate. Like, and then seeing from the way it was animated, Jinwoo got sucked in. Like, he was sticking his arm out and was like, get help, you know, or whatever he said. And they just got sucked in. Ill-prepared, bro. What? It was all of that. They was not prepared for that.
Than a practice run for the 12 of them.
Like you said, it was a phenomenon. It was just a crazy phenomenon.
Anime didn't show us, since here we saw that they only had 8 hunters. The full strike squad consisted of 1 A rank, 7 B ranks, and 4 C ranks. Completely overkill for what a C rank gate normally required, but made sense since this was, after all, practice. Now, an interesting property which made this gate visibly different from the outside was the strange viscous nature with which it absorbed people. Normally the surface was supposed to return to being solid as soon as someone entered, but for some reason this one kept rippling like a liquid. It even clung to Sung's hand like glue the moment he touched it, resulting in its ability to swallow him whole.
Okay.
So, the gate would turn red and the White Tiger Guild would call Beck, leading to that whole outburst where he would express his anger towards the association. It didn't really matter that they got the reading wrong now though, since whether it was initially C, B, or A ranked, the fact the gate was red now trumped all of that. Besides, they couldn't even remeasure the gate if they wanted to, since red gates had the distinct property of leaking 0 magical energy.
What?
It's just that Beck knew from personal experience red gates were incredibly dangerous, so much so that he was ready to count all those who were trapped as KIA. A new character had actually arrived right after Beck to dissuade that notion, basically saying how Kim Chul would be able to pull through for them. The reason this man was so invested in Kim was because he was the chief of the White Tiger Guild's 1st Division, the team responsible for prepping those who would be on the main strike force. Training was usually handled by On's 2nd Division, but any hunters ranked A or higher were always handled by Sung Chan's 1st Division. It was mandatory for them to go through a more specialized and intense training regimen. So, because Sung-chan knew firsthand just how capable Kim Chul was, he truly believed he wouldn't fall behind any of the White Tiger Guild's main hunters, let alone a measly E-rank unsuspected reawakened.
We're gonna check it out soon.
This was its own little conflict outside the gate, essentially showing the competition between the White Tiger Guild's 1st Division and 2nd Division. On didn't seem all too into it, but it seems 1st Division is always trying to show up 2nd Division. In any case, Beck had actually gone on to explain why it is red gates are always so fatal.
See, that's another thing that I like, how cutthroat like these branches or like these guilds are too, because they're sitting here, they're trying to get all the good gates, they're trying to get all the high rank gates, and they're trying to make sure they got the best people so they can just sit there and rack in that motherfucking cash, boy. So it's like, where do you draw the line of people's safety? I guess it's like, yeah, that's oh, they're all mangas. I'm gonna have to check them out. They've been ongoing for a while. Gotta be new. But check them out. Were they all like shonen type, or some of them manhwas, or they just manga straight up? I'm gonna check that out.
Still for hunters. First, you never know where you're gonna end up, so you could be teleported anywhere from a scorching desert with 60 degrees Celsius temperatures all the way to a poison-filled jungle or snow-covered wasteland. This makes preparing near impossible, since unless you bring equipment ready for everywhere, you're probably gonna be caught off guard in at least one way or the other.
Similar to One Piece.
It's these unexpected conditions that
That's hard to
often
do.
lead to the weakest dying first, since not only do you have to acclimate to the new environment around you, but you also have to do so while fighting high-level monsters.
I need to finish Kaiju
It was
number
a
8,
challenging
actually.
feat that only the truly strong could possibly pull through from. All that was just the bare minimum though, since even after acclimating and surviving, you still had to find a way to procure food and water. Sure, you could enter with enough food to last for weeks, but with red gates lasting up to several months, eventually you would need to provide for
Several
yourself.
months.
The only truly helpful tool to help you get through this was your magic
Gold
energy
Roger's alive?
compass guiding you
I
to
always
the
wanted
boss.
Gold Roger to stay alive.
With this pointing you in the direction of the most powerful source
caught
of
up on One
magical
Piece, bro?
energy, it would eventually get you to the boss. It's just you might be following it for weeks or months.
Okay, let me see.
So, with Unforgive Self, the only truly helpful tool to help you get through this was your magic energy compass guiding you to the boss. With this pointing you in the direction of the most powerful source of magical energy, it would eventually get you to the boss. It's just you might be following it for weeks or months. So, with unforgiving
this boss
surroundings,
just popped up
constant
out of
hunger,
nowhere.
and the looming presence of monsters, a red gate truly was one of the most challenging endeavors a hunter could go through. It was totally justifiable for Beck to think that no one would make it. Now, before we get to what was
That
happening
dude,
inside the gate,
he
the last
still got
thing
a
I want to
heart.
mention from
Beck still
outside
got a
was
heart.
a couple details related to Huang Dong-su. He actually wasn't here at all in the novels, but in the manhwa he had found Sung by tracking his records with the association. He then immediately sniffed out that An was covering up for him, not because he knew that An was good at scouting, but rather because he just had a solid intuition on when something fun was happening. Consider it a personal sixth sense of his. To finally get to what was happening inside the gate, I suppose the best place to start is with this. Sung really didn't like the cheap tactic the Ice Elves opened with, leading him to hold a personal grudge against the ones who tried it. It's actually why he snapped the arrow right in front of them. He wanted them to know that he was pissed. Of course, the two elves only saw this as a challenge, leading them to make that motion in return
that was a
directed right
mistake.
towards Sung. I
That
know
was
that's
a
not
big
really all that
mistake.
different from what we saw in the anime, but it does highlight the more aggressive Sung the novel version of him is known to be. He definitely flexes more here than he does in the manhwa or anime. Now, when Kim went on
Yeah, they
to
should have
enact
showed
his
him
plan,
straight up angry.
he was so intent on clearing the gate that he was actually ready to do so by himself if need be. The way he spoke was so assuringly confident, though, that wasn't a problem he would have to worry about. Instead, there was a bit more back and forth between him and the lower hunters, eventually resulting in him calling them baggage. This wasn't an insult
That's
they were
fucked up.
very happy with, but the moment Kim glared in their general direction, they immediately backed down since, well, what else could they do? The groups would then split into the ones we saw, giving Sung the opportunity to get to know the White Tiger hunters better.
And bro had
It's here
a
he
whole
learned why
episode
was
that
they
it was
weren't
his
very afraid,
decision
but
to
that confidence
separate.
was something
like,
he knew
don't
would
be getting
disappear
mad that
quickly.
you made a decision to
Reason
leave
being
everybody.
that Sung knew
ended up with the
firsthand
short end
no
of the
amount
stick.
of training could prepare them for the life and death situations awaiting them. To know something was far different from experiencing it. All these hunters were doing were simply showing off, not realizing just how terrifying the gate truly was. As soon as they see what's exactly at stake, Sung knew their false confidence would come crashing down on top of them. I mean, for the many years it took to build that confidence up, a single moment was all it took to break it down. Such was the unfortunate fate awaiting these rookies. Heejin would then get to know Sung a bit herself, basically probing to find out why it is she felt so confident in him. Though he never answered her questions, his true confidence combined with what she believed she saw him do made her all but certain he was strong. She had barely pieced together and moved here, but her experience
He
as a
like
top
art form right
athlete
there,
and
bro.
her awakening into a
Like, didn't they say like he wasn't even holding her like
she
that?
had barely pieced together the way that Sung
Like,
had.
why he do that? Why he do that, bro? I got you. That's what I got you. It's light work. I got you. It's a little baby arrow. Yo, that was crazy. Cause they just showed in the other scene, he just like caught it like to the side, but he ain't had, he was like, I got you. It's right here, and he was pointing at him, and then broke it. He was like, and they're like, all right, come on.
Moved here, but her experience as a top athlete and her awakening into a melee hunter made her confident in her dynamic vision. It all served to reinforce her assumptions even more. Now, for more context on why Sung felt more.
And also, what did they say? They said, I'm gonna call him Iron because that's who he is now. He didn't even see the arrow, right? He didn't even sense the arrow coming. And Sung was the only one. That Sung knew they was already in the trees, bruh. He literally could have caught every single arrow that flew out the sky, but he's like, you know what? I'm gonna let it kill like him, and I'm gonna protect her.
Confident in the forest.
Quit playing.
The fact the elves were wearing pelts made from bears made it clear the bears were weaker than the elves. Part of the danger of a dungeon was not—
Pause what you said. What you mean? Pause what you said. Gotcha.
Not knowing what would pop out when, so to remove that element of uncertainty was actually a huge advantage. The coats and boots only cost 10 gold each, so out of the 430,000 he had earned up to this point, the items he bought here— danger of a dungeon was not knowing what would pop out when, so to remove that element of uncertainty was actually a huge advantage. The coats and boots only—
Wait. Gabby, why you ain't in school? You should've— it's been an hour and a half already, like you should've switched classes by now. Here's the thing, right? Gabby, Dirk fan, God fan. You're a fan of me and you're a fan of God. Hey, I can't argue with that. But God is always above. You fucked up by not putting the order the way it's supposed to be. It's God first and then whoever you want next. You fucked it up. That's how I know it ain't real. That's how I know you're a troll. You put me ahead of God. That is diabolical. That makes no absolute sense. No one would ever— no real person would do that. No real person would sit there and in their name put my name in front of— before God. That— what? Even if you're not a believer of God, you know what I'm saying? You would not do that. Like, that's how I know. That's how I know you fake, bro. That's crazy. That is insane. Like, that's crazy. You're supposed to say fan of God and then Dirk fan or whatever. If I had to put a little critique on your name.
Confident in the forest. Well, the fact the elves were wearing pelts made from bears made it clear the bears were weaker than the elves. Part of the danger of a dungeon was not knowing what would pop out when, so to remove that element of uncertainty was actually a huge advantage. The coats and boots only cost 10 gold each, so out of the 430,000 he had earned up to this point—
oh, he got pockets, bro. He got some deep pockets. That's what it is.
Unlike
it only cost him that much.
Effects added to them, regular items like these didn't cost a lot at all. So Sung would prep his group and kill the bear, then gain a level up and become the group's leader.
Man, I would have gave them some real drip. I would have gave them some designer drip, bro. I'd be like, look, y'all the first ones to see me act up in this bitch. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you some— what you want? Balenci's? You want some— so you want some— oh, you want some Rick Owens? Yeah, you get some Ricks. Like, bro, I'm telling you, yo, he would have been dripped out. Like, you had a Louis belt, all that shit. But they would have been like, they would have some special effects on him and shit. But damn, he could have gave him at least like $100 worth of stuff, That's like some front row shit. They got to see front row to the show. This man boxed up some polar bears, bro. Some giant savage A-rank polar bears. And then fought what was probably like a lesser S. I'm not gonna say it's an S, but he's like a mid-A bear. He didn't fight him. Igris fought him. But you get my point. He did assert his dominance, but it's like the fact that he had like $430,000 and he spent only $10 worth of it. He would have been good for the 100 that he gave to the three of them. You know what I mean? Like, they'd have been like, wow, like I feel I feel stronger with this on. You know, it's like he could have like really had them like on his side, like, you know, because if you would have gave me like some drip that like, I don't know, increased my EXP, my agility, you know, I don't know, like crazy shit, I'd be like, look, he would have told me, if you would have told me not to say shit, I still wouldn't have said nothing anyway, because he probably would find me, you know what I'm saying? Because the dude could turn invisible. Like, come on. Like, the dude literally could turn invisible, and then his essence, his aura completely gone. And then you have no idea where this man is at. He's literally an S-rank assassin. That is insane. You know what I'm saying? I was like, bro. I was like, hey, can you... I ain't gonna say nothing, but can I get a little something better? Yeah, how he adds... He probably sells his... Hey, look, I'm just all guesses and speculation. But since I had watched episode 4, he probably sells all of the, like, C rank stuff that he gets out of the dungeon. You know? Probably sells all that stuff. Wait, you're right, because the system. Scratch that. Yeah, you're right. It's like the system has its own currency. Yeah, you're right. Does the system use the outside currency? Or are they totally separate? Like, does the system have like a battle pass or some shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, shit. The system got microtransactions that Junwoo's got to deal with. What?
It was an immediate suggestion since this was the moment Heejin knew that she made the right call after all. Now she just feared that Sung might leave and do his own thing, so rather than wait for that to happen, she quickly suggested that Sung become their leader officially. It was a role Sung figured would make things easiest for him. 3 days would then pass with the weak hunters living it up, all while Sung would hunt bears like he had some sort of vendetta against them. The way his eyes lit up every time he saw them truly was terrifying for those who got to witness it. It definitely made people curious about what his true rank was, but out of fear of being kicked out of the only safe haven here, the group decided not to talk about it further. So,
yeah, they talked about it amongst themselves.
Where Sung had come across what he could only describe
as
a bear
they
farm,
talked about it amongst
his
themselves.
shadow army got to show us why they were at least better than a pack of beasts. Whereas beasts fought mindlessly, Sung's army not only had the ability to regenerate, but also cooperated in a way that made them a pretty cohesive unit. Like, the mages could bombard the whole battlefield with magic, knowing full well the infantry would regenerate and get right back in there. This was what gave them the advantage, since the weakened bears could no longer defend against the unrelenting onslaught of the soldiers.
Damn, they just
in the end, it
back.
Increased their levels from 1 to either 2 or 3.
Oh, so we got
their
some confirmation. He sell loot, I forgot to who, but that's how he's been earning all that money that wasn't shown in the anime. I think the last video showed him checking his bank account. Yeah. Or the last episode. So he does sell it to somebody in there. Yes, it's Wait. Does anybody remember if because he had bought a sword. Remember that? Whenever he used the key to go into that first dungeon, and they had like those dogs or those wolves that had that goddamn robo jaw, and they like broke his sword in half. Like, he had money, right? Didn't he? Or did he like trade items to get to the sword? Like, it was something. It was something like that. So I feel like, you know, when he levels up too, he gets like a little signing bonus. You know what I'm saying? And Gab, you said, okay, I lied. My favorite game is not Halo 2. It's Halo Infinite. See? You just literally lying. You just lying. How are we supposed to believe if you just been lying? You just be lying.
Raised Sung's own level by
Jacob.
3 as well. More bears could then be heard in the distance, which, as you'd expect, made Sung smile knowing he'd be able to get to them tomorrow. To switch things over to Kim Chul's side of the story now,
crazy,
it wasn't
like,
just the ice elves which had caused his defeat here. First, they had fought in to beat snowmen, then they lost 2 in a subsequent fight against some ice yetis, after which the ice elves would pounce to get the jump on them. They were sneakily waiting for Kim's team to exhaust themselves before launching their own attack. So,
that would have been good to see. That would have been good to see some ice yetis.
Were dead, leaving him to witness the barbaric nature of who he was up against. Like, the elves had gone so far as to taunt Kim with the decapitated head of his comrade.
Yeah, I like art.
It was
Put
the
art in
action
here.
which spurred him to
I
run
like art
away
like
in
this.
terror. It didn't matter that he was running into ice
Like,
bear
this
territory
isn't-
since
Like this isn't, you know, like from a One Piece website or nothing. This is actually from an artist. I can't remember what his name is. He's got a signature somewhere. Oh, Harrow. This is by Harrow. These are some nice prints. Like, I got another print that I don't know what I'm gonna do with. I don't know. I might give it away. But it's like a giant Last Supper print. But it's One Piece. It's got, like, you know, Luffy and the whole crew, like, just sitting. But I literally don't have anywhere to put it, or I don't have like a frame to even put it in, because the thing is so big. Like, yeah, it like takes up half of my wall, like, across. So I just have it rolled up in the tube that it came in, because I was like, I really ain't got nowhere to put it. So it's pretty much brand new. Oh, you're on Harrow? Deadass. Yeah, bro, this is Harrow. These prints are nice. I like it. Harrow prints. After the move what? Move where?
compared to the snowmen, yetis, and ice elves, they were very much the least of his worries. Another 2 days would pass with Sung still farming bears, clearing a few more farms worth to the point that they were nearing extinction. At least him and his shadows got to level up from them, so much so that where before his shadows would need to fight 2-on-1 to win, now they could pull off a victory 1-on-1. His increased proficiency had even leveled up his shadow storage limit to a max of 30 now. It was at this point that Sung felt he should hunt the boss, since with no more bears to farm levels from and a dungeon break still several months out, there wasn't much value in sticking around anymore. Besides, he also had to find that one elf that pissed him off back here. Though
Vanessa Wicked, appreciate the sub. I don't have like no air horn or nothing that I could play, but I appreciate it. I just be posting whatever, you know what I mean? So if you like vlogs, if you like skits, anime reactions and stuff, this is it. This is it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hold on, my foot falling asleep. Hold up. Oh man, I've been sitting here too long. I got like a Charlie horse or something. Oh, getting old, bruh. Getting old. Getting some water. My foot fall asleep, dog. I think we good. Also, I got like another video I'm editing of like the snow, bro. Like I got a little skit coming. So keep your eye out for a skit. Do you wanna build a snowman? Alright, let's get back into this video.
though 5 days had passed, Sung still hated how it mocked
this.
him and the other hunters. Now, in the meantime, Kim was completely starved, surviving only off a measly rabbit ever since he'd stepped foot here.
Damn!
That's why he was able to pick up the scent of food so easily,
He
and
ain't
it's
even
also
eat
why
no
he was
bear?
so quick to anger. At this point, he was essentially ravenous. In fact, even if the food he smelled was coming from a camp of ice elves,
familiar with
his
Gurren
hunger
Lagann,
made
yeah.
him believe that
I
he could subdue
started
them
it,
and
but
get away with
didn't
it.
like finish it either.
Kim was so
It looks
hungry
really
that
good,
he
though.
couldn't even make simple logical decisions anymore.
I've seen a lot of like little
That's when
clips
he
of
would
it.
find the hunters, lash out at what he believed to be betrayal, then get slapped so hard that Sung's hand would start steaming from the impact. The elves would then make
Wait, what? I didn't know his hand was stinging from the impact whenever he slapped him. They literally he literally threw Kim into the ground, right? And then threw his ass like 2 football fields away. Which was reasonable. It was a good reaction to have when this man was threatening to kill like everybody at the camp just because they chilling. Like, hold up, pump the brakes. Yeah, like pump the brakes. It's like you literally told us, one, we're not allowed in your crew or your group because we're dead weight, we're baggage. So you gonna go that way, and then we gonna go this way. And then now that you come into our way, you gonna be mad that we out here chilling by a fire, enjoying some bear meat. Pause. Bear food, and all you had was a rabbit. Like, what the like, what? What? Bro, you could have lived. You literally could have lived. You could have lived a good life just being a subordinate in the Jinwoo fighting squad. But nah, you want to threaten everybody, get slapped in the back of the head, and steam in hand, and then get thrown like a football.
Their entrance, revealing the boss whose aura was way stronger than all the others. It was so oppressive that
He
Sung
gonna get
couldn't
mad.
help but get goosebumps from it. The rest were grunts he knew he could easily take care of,
Got mad for
mainly
no
because
reason.
his recent level grind made him that
Got mad
much
at his
stronger.
own mistakes.
Now, this particular elf was actually the one Sung had it out for, so rather than dash towards him and take his head himself, he instead just threw his
That was
dagger at a
cold.
speed it couldn't even react to. It was a kill I'm sure Sung was extremely satisfied with. This brings
It was
us to the
cold.
interesting conversation Sung had shared with Baraka, which, though filled with hints that should have got Sung thinking, didn't really trigger any thoughts at all.
Yeah, that got me too. Like, whenever I was editing this video, like episode 2 back, whenever he asked him, like, what he wanted or like who he was, is like the system started glitching. That was crazy. It's like the system glitched and was about to tell him what it was. Because, you know, he was like, there's a voice in our ear that tells us to kill humans. And I was like, what? So the system is playing both sides. The system's like, go after the humans because they ain't awoke yet, but they can be. And then he finally come across somebody who is woke, that's got the system in his ear. Or really, he got the system on screen telling him, you know, like, kill this dude. He raised the fist to you, kill him. You're like, we're playing rock, paper, scissors, bro. Like, I ain't gotta kill him, I just gotta beat him. You're like, nah, it's like, kill him. Yo, the system is crazy.
He chalked up the not human comment as him just being a player, while the stutter and lack of reaction to it made it clear probing for information was useless. It was no doubt some bona fide NPC behavior, but that didn't matter to Sung at all. No, the only thing that did was being able to turn Baraka into a shadow soldier. This was the only thing Sung could think about ever since
was
Baraka
pissed.
made his entrance,
He
and
couldn't
it's
do it.
probably why he didn't think too deeply about anything
That ruined his
else.
whole mood.
Sung just wanted a new soldier and the cool-looking daggers he possessed. Of course, Sung knew he couldn't beat Baraka alone, so what he needed to find was another strong
Look at that
ally.
aura farm. Look at that.
This leads to a fake out
He
with
didn't have to
Kim,
be all
since
tied
the
up
way
like that.
Sung kicks his sword towards him like he's seeking his help makes it seem like he's doing so in order to team up with him. Obviously that wasn't the case, but as the reader we don't yet suspect that Sung is baiting Kim into becoming a shadow soldier himself. So, while Sung was getting cut and sliced in his fight with Baraka, Kim finally woke up to find his sword next to him. This was incredibly lucky for both of them because Sung knew he wouldn't be able to last much longer, and Kim saw his opportunity for revenge. In the manhwa, Kim got skewered like this, then there was another
Oh.
cool panel where we see Sung casting a rise in the shadow of Igris's cape. Though the anime didn't show it, it was while Sung was busy doing so that Igris went on to distract Baraka. This was a good way to show just how strong Baraka was, since
Me neither. I did not notice that he kicked the sword over. Oh well, actually, it's in the manhwa, right? He kicked the sword over. If they did that in the anime, I definitely didn't see that, or they didn't animate that. But I did. So the way that I'm getting this is that Sung can't turn someone into a shadow unless they're seen as a threat from the system first, right? Like they gotta be the aggressor, or they gotta aggro the system to be like, you know, oh, enemy. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of cool. So he can't just go out there and just like, you know what? I'm gonna just start making you one of my soldiers.
Igris barely served as a challenge to him. It didn't take long for Baraka to slice right through him. In fact, the only reason Igris wasn't defeated completely was because he was able to rely heavily on his regeneration abilities. Now,
Igris can
Sung's
regenerate?
choice of name for iron was because Chul in Korean meant iron. His grade of a shadow was the same as Igris's at night grade, then though his towering stature made keeping up with agile opponents difficult, His innate
True,
aggro
they
skill
showed
Shadow
that.
Provocation made such a limitation unimportant.
He couldn't keep up.
Iron instead made his opponents come to him. This too saved Igris from
Yeah,
being defeated
that'd be
completely,
so bad if
since the moment
Jinu was
Baruka
evil.
was about to land the finishing blow, Shadow Provocation immediately switched his focus from Igris to him. Reinforcement was another skill allowing Iron to tank all of Baruka's attacks, creating time for Sung and Igris to join the battle together. At first, there wasn't much all three could do, but with each subsequent hit
he
they
can do it
managed
to
to
anybody.
land, these small cuts and
Friend or
bruises
foe.
started to reduce Baruka's agility ever so slowly. It wasn't long before
Yeah, true. When he stabbed him too, he stabbed him twice. I wonder how much, like, he had like a double buff of like the paralysis from that dagger. He could do it to anyone. There are some exceptions. Okay. So the only exception that I know of so far is just being out of rank, like being too high of a rank, or not having enough mana. But if he could just do it to anybody, that's crazy. But cause yeah, I guess like for him to kick the sword towards him, he was really like big brain in the whole thing. Like he 250 IQ'd that shit. Like, let me just kick the sword over there. You gonna wake up, see it, try to come stab me in the back, make it look like you ain't a friend to the elf. Cause you know in the anime too, he was like, "Ha! The humans turn their backs on you too. Ha! The humans gonna kill you too." Oh, they all fell for the shit.
could do, but with each subsequent hit they managed to land, these small cuts and bruises started to reduce Baruka's agility ever so slowly. It wasn't long before
Hit with that
Baruka's
poison
smell was
dagger.
gone, and with each dodge reducing his already depleted stamina, it was only a matter of time before he was finished, just like how we saw in the anime. In the end, the entire fight had earned
This
Sung
was the
2
funniest
whole
part.
levels. For Miss Park, who was watching
Iron
the fight,
hitting him with that
she was
hammer
most
over and over
worried
again was
about
like the
how she was
funniest
going
part.
to explain all this. She seemed to be on the side of keeping Sung's secrets, so that was a message she was trying to convey to the others. Like, just the fact they were even able to think about what they were going to do outside the gate, well, that was only possible because of him.
Yeah, she didn't want to
Her
lie to
own
Beck
personal
too, huh?
feelings were now far beyond that of shock or gratefulness, and were now simply at a stage of awe. It's an important feeling to understand, since it'll come up again in some cutscenes I'm sure will be involving her next episode. The last thing I want to talk
Similar to
about in
Shadow
this
Position?
episode is the minor spat between Sung
Like
and
another
Beck
ability?
after
How?
the gate. The main reason why Beck had backed off at all was because Sung's message was actually pretty valid, and the immense pressure he applied along with it made it clear he wasn't to be messed with right now. This was enough for Beck to become invested in Sung, since not just anyone could stand up to him the way that Sung just did. Not only that, but Beck could tell from Sung's
Naruto.
powerful aura that if the two were to fight right here and now,
I got you
he
now,
would
I
need
got
to
you
be
now.
ready to lose an arm or worse. That's just how strong Sung had become after the Red Gate.
That would be pretty cool.
So, given that this was the impression Beck got from Sung, Beck was ready to give On literally every resource to acquire him. It didn't matter how much money it would take, Beck wanted Sung in the White Tiger Guild now. But yeah, that's
you know
pretty
what?
much it for this episode. Sung's new dagger buffed his stats
W
by this,
episode.
and its grade of A made
Ooh,
it
I never got to see this. Baruka's dagger, level difficulty A. That's crazy. Okay, that's crazy. It's an A dagger. Actually, it's not crazy. You could be a S rank person and not have S rank all gear. That makes sense. This dagger was once used by the warlord Baruka. This weapon is infused with magic and that reduces the weight of its wielder, allowing for greater agility attack. Ooh, attack plus 110, agility plus 10. That's crazy. Like, he just kind of like gets a lot of these dagger drops now too, huh?
perfect to replace Kasuka's Fang, which was becoming less and less effective lately. Oh, and the car scene does in fact happen in the manhwa too.
Yeah. I was kind of thrown for a loop on this one. Yeah, I would never sell the weapon. That dagger is one of my favorites. That's a crazy dagger. He, like, with his like, they really played him out to be an assassin, you know? He can, like, completely eliminate his aura, go invisible. The dude's fast as fuck. Fast as fuck, boy. And now he got another dagger that increases his agility. And then he's got another dagger that does poison damage and paralysis. Dude's literally, like, spec'd up to be a straight assassin. Yeah, this scene got me straight. Like, got me straight up. I was like, it was funny, but I was like, damn.
Anyway, if you liked what you saw and want to see more Solo Leveling, then feel free to leave a like and subscribe. There'll be a new video every week, and you can watch the previous episodes here. Until next time, though.
That was a good ass video. There was a lot more cut content than I thought in episode 3. I need another day. Oh, what? That was crazy. Like, they showed a couple things that I ain't never seen. And he not spoiling nothing.